I also want to bring in Mr. PK Basu on this. So in the US justice system, this is it. This is the highest court of appeal. The US Supreme Court has sat on this, and they weighed in on this 6-3 majority ruling that the legal basis of IEEPA, which the president used to impose these tariffs, that legal basis is gone. That bottom is gone. Does he have any other legal avenue to try and bring this through the back door, or any other? What's the next step really as far as Trump is concerned? Because he's not going to, I don't foresee a situation where he's just going to give up on these tariffs.
I don't think he's going to give up on the tariffs, but he'll have to now go through Congress. And basically discriminatory tariffs on different countries, etc., is probably what the Supreme Court has ruled against. We'll have to see the details of the judgment. But the important thing is that this is a surprise, because the U.S. Supreme Court has a 6-3 balance in favor of conservative judges, at least 3 or 4 of whom were directly appointed by President Trump himself. So it's a little bit of a surprise that they voted 6-3 against.
So three conservative judges flipped, including the Chief Justice, John Roberts.
Yes. So John Roberts has flipped. This is a really an earth-shaking event politically in the U.S. And what will have to happen is that he'll now have to go to Congress and formulate a bill that has these different tariffs to different countries, or he'll perhaps have to find some sort of legal justification for why there are different tariff levels for each country, and convince Congress that Congress should pass legislation exactly in line with what he has come up with.
And there it may not be easy. There it may not be easy because Rahul, it's a midterm election year. There are Republican congressmen and women who, in some of these swing districts, who are finding it difficult to sell some of these policies of President Trump. So running up the numbers there might not be that easy.
In fact, already a large number of lawmakers have come out and said that they're not going to allow this. So there is, I don't know if it's bipartisan, and maybe Mr. Raymond Vickery can sort of elucidate on that, but I'm told that there is a lot of resistance, and it's coming primarily from business that are lobbying lawmakers to say that, look, I think this has gone too far. Now, if you remember, there was something like this that happened, especially with steel sector and so on and so forth, under Trump 1, and he had to roll back a lot of those tariffs that he had imposed back then. So there is pressure on, obviously, the American economy, and that's going to reflect somehow in the overall calculations. But in the immediate, I wonder what happens. Do those countries that have been sort of milked, for lack of a better word, do they now get recompensated? Is that what's going to happen? Because those numbers go into the billions.
Yeah.
Azaka, and in fact, I'm just reading this piece because just a few days back, and this is BBC, Trump says he's awaiting very eagerly this particular judgment, because he says that without all of this, in this uncertainty, he's going to find it very difficult to move forward, because billions and billions of dollars will leave America.
So he's not going to pay back. I'm pretty certain about that. The monies that have been collected so far, and there are varying estimates. I think Scott Bessent at one point said they're hoping to get $300 billion in this financial year.
He said everybody would be bankrupt if this decision came against these tariffs.
So I want to go back to Raymond Vickery on this. So the steel and aluminum tariffs, those have been exempt in today's judgment, in as much as they have said that is fine. The section that he's used under IEEPA for steel and aluminum, which is separate for the other tariffs, that the court has upheld. It's the rest of the broader tariffs that the court has struck down on. Will Trump go back and use those sections which are perhaps kosher in the IEEPA to then bring back the tariffs, either through executive order or go back to Congress and ask for and try and rally up the numbers there? Mr. Vickery.
Well, let's face it, President Trump is an expert at what we call lawfare, which is warfare through the courts. He's not going to give up easily on this. As has been said, he should go back to Congress and get authorization for this, since Congress has the constitutional authority. But you can bet that's not going to be his first move. His first move is going to be to try to find loopholes within this judgment in order to be able to do what he's trying to do illegally, to try through another method to get it done. So he will separate out, for example, tariffs based upon Russian oil from those which are the so-called Liberation Day. He will look for, he has already looked for other authority, legal authority, other methods to be able to accomplish this. So that's going to be the first move to take. But the good news here is that, you know, for 250 years, we've survived in American democracy through some really tough periods. We do have, though, a way to be able to go forward constitutionally, and that is going to be, it seems to me, working out over the days and weeks and months to come. But as far as money being paid back, it's not being paid back to the countries involved. The people who've been paying these tariffs are the businesses of the United States of America, by and large. Now, some of it's been passed on to consumers, some passed on to suppliers through lower prices. But it's really the plaintiffs in this case are small businesses in the United States who have been disadvantaged. And so it's not a monumental task. This is a lot of money in billions of dollars, but compared to the federal budget, it's not all that great. It can be handled in terms of the logistics and the payback. So that's not the problem. The problem is whether or not we'll be able to deal on a constitutional and legal basis in terms of the next steps, with particularly with other great democracies like India and in Western Europe. I predict there's going to be a period of uncertainty, but certainly a signing ceremony seems to be off based upon something which has been ruled illegal by the United States Supreme Court.